Hey Santiago, it's Aaron here at Triumph Roswell. Just want to say congrats on the Rocket 3, the 2026 Storm GT purchase. I'm just here to kind of go over everything since you took delivery. If you do want to come back and have me go over anything in person, just ride up here. I usually tell people ride up on like a Tuesday through Friday, and I'll be wide open and can go over some stuff with you. Saturdays are just my crazy day. So first things first, on these, I always like to show people where you can check your oil. So I have Zach pan around to the left side of the bike. So we are looking at an R model here. Santiago, obviously you purchased a GT, but everything that I want to be going over is very similar, or is the same. If there's anything that's different, I'm going to point it out during the video. So just stay tuned. All right, so come down here. I'll actually show you a couple things right here. So first things first, Santiago, this is where we can take off this side cover here to check. This is where our dipstick is. So you spin this down to the left, remove it, and then you got your dipstick right in here. So you can just check your oil that way. The factory recommendation for checking your oil on these Rockets is you want to make sure that the bike is on the side stand, not on the not upright, which can be counterintuitive to some models. And then you want to make sure you've ran the bike for about 60 to 90 seconds, turn the bike off, let it cool down for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then check it on the side stand. So just let me know if you want me to, or if you ever have questions on that, just call me and we can go back over that. I just gotta get it back in there. And then just take this, you guide these two pieces here, right here, and then just slide it back on. Kind of takes a couple of practice tries the first time you do it. We also have right here a hard kill switch. I really only recommend having this in the off position when it's wintertime and you're not gonna be riding for more than probably 3 to 4 weeks. And then right here with our key, which you have a blade on your fob, this is where we can pop our key in here and get our seat off. So we pop our key in, lift from the rear here and get your seat off. Yours obviously has a backrest, so you'll kind of just have to guide the seat around the backrest. And this is where you've got in here a little phone case. It's up underneath your passenger seat. You just press that, pop that open, and then there's a phone case in here with a USB port. So if you do need to charge anything, you got a little USB port back up under there. And you just pop that back on, and then yeah, your battery, your fuses. To get your seat back on, just guide that front little plastic up underneath the tank. Slide forward and just click. You'll hear a small little click in. So yeah, that's how you can get that off. And then like I showed you and Caroline when y'all were in here, you do have the fold down passenger pegs, which are just really cool. So that's how you can get those down. Zach, if you want to come over on this side, I'm going to show you, Santiago, you have a trickle charger or a battery lead, as we call it. We install it on all bikes. It's up under your left hand passenger footrest. And this bike has a just regular lead acid battery. So as long as you have like a battery tender that's for lead acid, you'll be good to go. Just don't use a lithium one. And then yeah, just pop your peg back up. If you come up to the front here, there's a sticker on your left side of the neck, Santiago, that's going to show you your factory recommended tire pressure. You can see for the front, they recommend 42 PSI. For the rear, they recommend 42 as well. And then you also have the sticker with your VIN on there as well. Really easy to remember these tire pressures, just 42, 42. So I just always think of Jackie Robinson. You have this right here. I always like to show guys this. It's your cap for the coolant. And it's on a set screw, so just don't ever try to spin this off without loosening this set screw first. You really don't have to worry about the coolant. Coolant's every 3 years, and I usually recommend with these Rockets just to have us do the coolant flush. But if you have questions and want the service manual section on how to do that, just let me know. I can send that to you. Come over here real quick. And all right. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Oh, one last little thing right here on the side neck I wanted to point out to you, Santiago. You've got your VIN engraved on the neck as well. So obviously pretty standard with most bikes. Let me stand on this side. I'll have you stay over there, Zach. Real quick, up on the front too, you've got a little, it's a European style cigarette volt. So it's 9-volt DIN. So if you do try to use like a 12-volt, it's not going to work. But you can just find, there's a brand I like called Optimate, and they sell them. You can get them on Amazon and plug that in. And then if you need to wire USB power, you've got that option. Then I want to show you something on the fob real quick. You see how when I hit this triangle here, the T on it, the button lights up and it's green. Watch when I hold it down. See how it turned red and now the key is red? That is a button, actually a power button for the key. So if the button is red like this, and I try to go start the bike by hitting the power button here, nothing will happen, but watch. Turn the key back to green, power button, screen starts to power on. So just one thing I always like to point out to people, sometimes they'll have the key in your pocket and it can kind of just press down on that button. So the first thing I always tell you, if you're struggling to get the bike started, it won't start up, check that first. And then two, always check that switch on the left-hand side to make sure it's not off. Give me one moment. Let me change this theme. Okay. All right, so now if you want to pan over to, actually we'll do our hand controls first. So we have our left side switch cube here. We got our brights and they're toggle. So you just tap this button here. And when they're on, your TFT, your instrument screen is gonna let you know. Then we've got cruise control here. To set your cruise control, you need to hit this button here, be in at least third, going above 30, and you hit it to set, and then press it one more time when you're at the speed you want to stay at, and then you're good. If you want to go faster or slower, you've got the plus or minus, and if you need to turn it off, just tap your brake, tap your clutch, shift, get on the throttle, all that good stuff. Then we've got our mode button here. So when we hit mode, we've got about 5 modes to cycle through, and they pop up on the left here. The 2-lane straight road right here is gonna be your road mode. Then you have your sport mode is this 2-lane windy road. Rider, which is where you can kind of make your own mode, which I'm gonna show you here in a sec where we can go and do that. Rain, right here, so that's gonna be your mode during the rain. Basically rain, what that's gonna do is your throttle response will be dimmed down a little bit, and it's gonna have a little bit more sensitive traction control in that rain mode. And when you're going through your modes, so we're in road, you can tell what mode you're in based off this little icon up here. If you wanna switch, let's say we wanted to go from road to sport, we hit our mode button here on the left, scroll down to the windy road that says sport, press this check mark in, and now you see here up on the screen, now it's a windy road, letting you know you're in that sport mode. So kind of play with the modes. I recommend try it in road first, and then, you know, try sport, try rain, just see what works best for you. And we got our blinkers, obviously here. And then we got our, this is, I call it the joystick. It's kind of your selector to get through all your different menu options. So we'll keep using that and going through that. Then your horn. You actually have on this an electronic steering lock. It's just this button here. So it's really nice. Just turn your handlebars to the left, Santiago, and then hit this power button. It'll turn the bike off and lock the steering. Then you have your flashers or emergencies up here as well. We got our power button, fuel pump primer, and then starter. To start the bike, always have to, on the Triumphs, hold your clutch lever in, whether you're in neutral, first, second. With the Triumphs, you cannot start the bike in gear when the kickstand's down. So just always like to let people know that. And then if you are in neutral, start the bike, and you kick down into first while the kickstand's still on, it's gonna kill the bike. And now watch, I'm in first, won't let me start the bike because my kickstand's down. So yeah, just always remember, clutch lever in when you start it, hold this button down until it fires, and it won't start in gear with the kickstand down. All right, so then we got our home button here. So this, a lot of people think this is a garage door opener. It's actually so you can get into your settings. We're gonna do that towards the end. First, I wanna kind of scroll through this screen and show you all the different options. So right here on the right, you can scroll through and see different options here. This first one we're on is actually different themes where you have a little dial. So this is the Chronos theme, and then there's the Quartz theme. It's totally just based off what appeals to you and what looks better to your eye. So doesn't really make a difference. Same information on both, it's just what you like. Then we can go left and right with our joystick here to kind of cycle through our menu option, our main menu. So I'm gonna go right. It brings up the information. So if you wanted to kind of hide some of the information or keep it all, I just recommend keep this in show all. That's what most of my customers do, and that way they can see everything they need to. So we scroll to the right again. We got trips. So to go between trip 1 and 2, just press down, and now you're on trip 2. To reset your trip, you kind of can see right here on your screen where it says hold to reset. Hold this check mark down right here. So you just hold this guy down, and that's gonna reset your trip for you. All right, I'm gonna leave trip, and then you can just go back and forth between trip 1 and 2. Again, I'm going up and down to cycle between those. So now we'll go right to our next screen. You can see our gas mileage. So the top one here with the little circle next to it, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see the gas cap with the circle and the line. That is actually recording your gas mileage over the entire life of the bike. The middle one here that doesn't have anything populated right now is for the current ride you're on. So obviously it's not gonna show anything because we're not riding this bike right now. And then the very bottom, miles to empty. So we'll go right again. You can see our coolant temp. This is gonna let you know what your coolant temp is at. It's not gonna show anything until you get going about a half mile to a mile down the road. So it won't register until you start riding a little bit. And then we can go up and down on this screen, and we can actually see the odometer. So we see, like on this one right now, it has 6 miles. And then this is also gonna let you know when you're due for your service. This one's due for service in February of next year or in 595 miles, because the first service on that bike is at 600 miles. So yeah, on that coolant section, you can go between coolant and then your service interval. You go right again. This is just if you want it to be in auto contrast, or if you want it to be in day mode, or if you want it to be in night mode all the time. So I usually run it in auto, and based off the light, it'll sense and either put it in day mode or night mode. So it's pretty cool. Then that's back to theme. So now we're gonna hit this home button here and go into our settings. So we hit the home button. First things first on our screen here is riding modes, and I'm selecting these options by just pressing in the check mark. This is your best friend right here. So press that in. So let's go, you got 4 modes. I recommend keeping rain, road, and sport the same and kind of making your own rider mode. So you can go into rider, and if you were like, dude, I really loved how the sport throttle felt, but I liked how traction control of rain felt, and you can kind of make it your own and have a little bit more of a tailored riding experience to what you prefer. And then I'm going to get out of these, to go back, I should say, I'm just hitting left on this little joystick here. So just kind of like a video game where you just go left to go back. And then if you wanted to reset them all to default, you could just go in here and do that, hit confirm, and it resets them all to default. We'll get out of this mode, or out of this section of our menu by just hitting left again. So now let's go to bike setup. So again, I just scrolled down, pressed in on the check mark. So this bike actually has hill hold. If you ever notice on your TFT, when I say TFT, I'm referring to your screen. If you ever notice a green H, it's gonna be a green circle with a white H in the middle. This bike has hill hold. It's really cool. When you're on an incline, it's gonna automatically apply those brakes for you. So that way it just makes it easier to get going on a hill, so you're not having to worry about the kind of momentum and rhythm of clutch, rear brake, and throttle and all that. So they do a good job of kind of holding that consistently, so you can just let off your clutch smoothly, give it gas, and get going. If you don't like that, you can disable it, but I'd say it's a pretty good feature with a bike that weighs 699 pounds, makes it nice. Then we go down, we'll go to indicators. If you're the type of person that likes to manually turn off your indicators yourself, you can make this manual. Or if you want them to just self-cancel, like they're gonna cancel on their own, you can make it automatic. Traction control, if you wanted to turn off your traction control, this is where you could do that. If you do it, it's gonna throw you up when you get back to your main menu, it's gonna throw you a TC error code, just letting you know, hey, your traction control's not on. So go back, again, we were hitting that home button here to get here, and then I just went to bike setup with my joystick here, and I'm gonna go back to TC, and we're just gonna re-enable it. Then just another place where you can see when you're due for your next service. Go back again, so to the left on the joystick again. Trip setup. This is where if you wanted your trips to reset automatically, so like on a timing basic, so like let's say trip 1, you were like, I want this to reset every 12 hours. You go to trip 1 reset, scroll down, hit automatic, and then pick how long you want it to, like the intervals you want it to automatically reset at. So it's as simple as that. And then if you're like, man, I only want to see one trip, I don't really care to see trip 2, go to trip to display, and you can just disable it right there. So keep it disabled or enabled under trip to display. Again, just selecting that by pressing in on the check mark. Going back by hitting left. All right, now we'll go to display setup. This will be the last thing I go over. Besides, one other thing that is not on this R, I'm gonna show you that is on your GT. So we'll go over that. It's the heated grip button at the end. Zach, don't let me forget. All right, so under display setup. So theme, this is kind of what we already looked at, where it was at Chronos and Quartz. So this is where you can just kind of just choose a different theme. This is pretty cool. So based off, if you have it in auto contrast mode, you can adjust the brightness in the higher contrast and the lower. So if you still wanted to use the auto, but you felt like one of the modes was a little too bright or not, you know, you could adjust that right there. Then we go to visible trays. So on that first screen, like when we first turned the bike on, a lot of people sometimes think there's just too much information there, so they kind of will turn a lot of these, they'll uncheck a lot of these so they don't see them. So like a lot of people will uncheck trip 2, a lot of people will uncheck the theme and style once they figured out what they like and contrast. And then you can go back to the left here and now watch on this right side here, we just have way less stuff that we have to cycle through now. So it's just kind of cleaning up that screen if you don't want to see all that information. Or you can leave it on there if you want to see all that stuff. Doesn't matter. Totally up to you. So again, that's under just home button, display setup, visible trays, and where you can uncheck if you want to kind of clean up that screen, or if you wanted to see something that wasn't on there, you can recheck it. So go back, gear shift indicator. So I turned this on your Santiago in the running in, and basically what this is gonna do is it's gonna know the parameters of the break-in and what RPMs you should stay at based off the mileage you're at during the break-in. And when you're getting above that recommended RPM range, your tachometer is gonna flash at you. If it's annoying you and you feel like you're good and you know how to break the bike in, just call me and I can get you to the screen and show you how to do it, or just watch this video, come to gear shift indicator, and just turn it to disabled if it's annoying you. So gear shift indicator. So yeah, I recommend it just because it does help to break the bike in, especially with such a powerful motor. Not a bad idea. Honestly, with these, they're pretty easy to break in because they have such good low end power. And then you have a rider name. I put your name in there, Santiago, but if you want to put in a nickname or something, that's where you can change that, kind of make it your own and make it unique. Obviously, you want to change the language, units, clock, date. That's where you can do all that is down here. So if the time change and all that good stuff, or if you like a 24-hour versus a 12-hour clock, you can adjust that there. And then we just go back. Got one last section here. If you wanted to reset the whole thing to default, that's where you could do that. Back here, we hit the home button. All right, and then we'll come over to the left side handlebar. Zach, you want to show right here? So on yours, Santiago, you're gonna have a little button here that has it looks like a little heated grip button. And you just tap it, and you'll see an icon on your screen show up right here. And it's gonna show that the heated grips are on, and they have 3 different settings. You have the 3 dots, which is the hottest, 2 dots, which is the middle, and then 1 dot is the lowest. Then yours also has the little fly screen here. Your bars are a little more swept back, and the seat setup is different. I did show you and Caroline when y'all were here, but just to reiterate, the backrest that's on the back of y'all's, it does have a little lever, so you can adjust that up and down. I know Caroline's a little taller, so she may want it all the way up, but you can kind of just play with it, see what feels best for her. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I normally go over on these. If you have any other questions, curious about any service intervals or anything in general, just let me know. And then I'll shoot you an email with one last DMV document to sign, and you'll be good to go.